You know that sinking feeling when you turn the key and nothing happens? That dead click, the silence. And then the panic sets in. How much is this going to cost me? Here's the thing. Most car batteries die way before they should. Not because batteries are bad, but because most of us were never taught how to take care of them properly. Today, that changes. I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know to get the absolute maximum life out of your car battery. We're talking real, practical tips that actually work. No gimmicks, no $50 products you don't need. Most of what I'm sharing today costs you nothing, just a little time and some know-how. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about how long a car battery should actually last. Most batteries are rated for 3 to 5 years. But here's what's interesting. Plenty of drivers get 7, 8, even 10 years out of a single battery. And the difference almost always comes down to habits, not luck. So what kills a battery early? There are a few big culprits, and once you know them, they're surprisingly easy to avoid. The number one killer is something called parasitic drain. This is when something in your car keeps drawing power even after you shut the engine off. It could be a phone charger you left plugged in, a dome light that didn't fully close, an aftermarket accessory that wasn't wired correctly. Even some factory systems like clocks, security systems, and memory seats draw a tiny amount of power all the time. That's normal. But when something extra is pulling current overnight, your battery slowly drains down further than it should. Do that enough times, and you permanently reduce its capacity. The fix: get in the habit of unplugging chargers when you park. Make sure your doors, trunk, and glove box are fully closed so interior lights turn off. If you suspect something is draining your battery, a simple multimeter, they cost about $10 at any hardware store, can help you measure the draw. You're looking for anything above about 50 milliamps when the car is fully off and all systems have gone to sleep. That usually takes about 15 minutes after you shut down. The second big killer is short trips. This one surprises a lot of people. Every time you start your engine, your battery takes a hit. It dumps a large burst of energy to crank the starter motor. Then your alternator, that's the generator driven by your engine, recharges the battery while you drive. But here's the catch. It takes roughly 15 to 30 minutes of driving to fully recover from a cold start. If you're only doing 5-minute trips, running to the coffee shop, dropping kids at school, quick errands, your battery never fully Over weeks and months, it slowly gets weaker and weaker. This is especially brutal in winter, when cold temperatures already reduce battery capacity by up to 40%. The practical fix here is simple. If you mostly do short trips, try to take one longer drive per week, 30 minutes or more on the highway if you can. This gives your alternator time to properly top up the battery. It's genuinely that simple. If that's not possible, consider a battery maintainer, also called a trickle charger. You plug it into a standard outlet in your garage, connect it to your battery terminals, and it keeps the battery at full charge without overcharging it. A decent one runs about $25 to $40, and it will extend your battery life significantly, especially through winter. Now let's talk about something you can do today for free: cleaning your battery terminals. Take a look at your battery. On the two posts where the cables connect, you may see a white, blue, or greenish crusty buildup. That's corrosion. It's caused by hydrogen gas that escapes from the battery, reacting with the surrounding air and metal. And it is silently killing your battery's performance. Corrosion increases electrical resistance. That means your battery has to work harder to push the same amount of current through the connection. Your car starts harder. Your charging system works less efficiently. And over time, the terminals can corrode so badly that you lose the connection entirely, and your car won't start at all, even with a perfectly good battery. Here's how to clean it. And it costs you nothing if you have baking soda in your kitchen. First, make sure your engine is off. Disconnect the negative cable first, that's the black one, marked with a minus sign. Then disconnect the positive cable, the red one with a plus sign. Always disconnect negative first. This is important for safety. Now mix 1 tablespoon of baking soda with 1 cup of warm water. Stir it until it dissolves. Pour or brush a small amount onto the corroded terminals. You'll see it fizz, that's the baking soda neutralizing the acid in the corrosion. Use an old toothbrush to scrub the terminals and cable connectors clean. Rinse with a little plain water. Then dry everything thoroughly with a rag or paper towel. Before you reconnect, you can apply a thin coat of petroleum jelly, regular Vaseline, to the terminals. This creates a barrier that slows future corrosion dramatically. Reconnect the positive cable first, this time, then the negative. Do this once or twice a year, and you will notice a real difference in how your car starts. Let's talk about heat. Most people think cold weather is the enemy of batteries. And it is hard on them, no question. But heat is actually the #1 cause of early battery death. High temperatures accelerate the chemical reactions inside your battery. That sounds like a good thing, but it also accelerates degradation. The internal plates break down faster. The electrolyte fluid evaporates more quickly. If you live somewhere with hot summers, the Southwest, the South, anywhere regularly hitting 95 degrees or above, your battery is under real stress. There's not a lot you can do about ambient temperature, but a few things help. Park in the shade or in a garage whenever possible. Avoid leaving your car sitting in direct sun for hours on end if you can help it. And if your battery is more than 3 years old and you live in a hot climate, start paying attention to it. Get it tested before it fails, not after. Most auto parts stores, AutoZone, O'Reilly, Advance Auto, will test your battery for free. They hook up a load tester that checks not just the charge, but the actual health of the battery's internal cells. A battery can show a full charge and still be on its last legs. This test catches that. Do it once a year once your battery hits the 3-year mark. Here's another tip that almost nobody talks about: battery hold-down brackets. Your battery sits in a tray under the hood, and there should be a bracket or clamp holding it firmly in place. Over time, these get removed for maintenance and don't always get put back, or they rust and break. When your battery isn't secured, it vibrates as you drive. Every bump, every pothole, every rough road sends vibration through the battery casing and the internal plates. Over time, that physical vibration causes the internal plates to crack and shed material. This is called vibration damage, and it dramatically shortens battery life. Check that your battery is firmly held down. If the bracket is missing or broken, a replacement is usually $5 to $15 at any auto parts store. It's one of the easiest and cheapest fixes there is. Now let's talk about the charging system, because a battery doesn't work alone. Your alternator charges your battery while the engine runs. Your voltage regulator makes sure the alternator doesn't overcharge it. If either of these systems has a problem, your battery pays the price. An alternator that undercharges leaves your battery perpetually low. An alternator that overcharges, pushing more than about 14.8 volts, can boil the electrolyte inside the battery and destroy it quickly. If your battery keeps dying, even though it's relatively new, the problem is often not the battery, it's the charging system. Again, most auto parts stores will check your alternator output for free when they test your battery. Take advantage of that. The signs of a failing alternator include dimming headlights while idling, a battery warning light on your dashboard, or electronics that behave strangely. Don't ignore those signs. Let's talk about one more thing before we wrap up: driving habits and seasonal prep. If you're storing a vehicle for the winter, or you have a second car that doesn't get driven much, this is critical. A battery that sits unused for weeks or months will self-discharge and can reach a state called deep discharge, where the voltage drops so low that the battery is permanently damaged and can never hold a full charge again. The solution is that trickle charger I mentioned earlier. Connect it whenever the car is sitting for more than 2 weeks. It will keep the battery healthy without overcharging it. This single habit can add years to the life of a battery in a seasonal vehicle. Also, before every winter, get your battery tested. Cold weather reduces battery capacity. A battery at 32 degrees Fahrenheit has only about 70% of its normal cranking power. A battery at 0 degrees drops to around 40%. If your battery is already weakened, winter is when it will fail. Finding out in October costs you nothing. Finding out in January in a parking lot costs you a tow truck and a lot of frustration. So let's bring it all together. Avoid parasitic drain, unplug chargers, check for lights left on, monitor idle current draw if something seems off. Take longer drives occasionally to let your alternator fully recharge the battery. Clean your terminals with baking soda once or twice a year and coat them with petroleum jelly. Keep your battery secured in its tray to prevent vibration damage. Get your battery and charging system tested annually once it's past 3 years old. Use a trickle charger if the car sits for extended periods or during winter storage. And in hot climates, park in the shade and start monitoring your battery proactively. None of this is complicated. None of it requires a mechanic, and most of it costs nothing at all. The difference between a battery that lasts 3 years and one that lasts 7 or 8 years almost always comes down to these small, consistent habits. You now have everything you need. If this video helped you, please give it a like. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who could use this information. Subscribe if you want more practical, no-nonsense car care tips. I put out new videos regularly. And next time we're going to cover how to tell if your alternator is failing before it strands you, and what a replacement actually should cost so nobody overcharges you. Take care of your car, and it'll take care of you. See you in the next one.